How's it going, everybody? Combo here. Today we got 5 quick tips with the anti-gravity cube here on the heavy build in season 4 of the finals. The cube gets a lot of love, 1 because it's just really cool, 2 because it's pretty easy to use, and 3 because it's really not that broken, right? It can be really strong, but I don't see many people complaining saying nerf the cube. But with that being said, there's a lot of very cool stuff that you may not have known that I can hopefully show you today. So I'm gonna quit yapping and let's get right into the video. Starting things out at number 1, we have the fast ascent. If you take nothing away from this video, this is what you need to listen to. Also, I have a little bonus tip in this one, so stay tuned for that. So one of the biggest things I see done wrong with the cube is people will say, okay, I need to get up here. They'll chuck it down and they'll just walk into it and float up super slow like this. And that's fine if your goal is to get to the top of it, and as I said here with the bonus tip, if you're using something like the MGL, right, and you just want to get like high ground because this thing doesn't suffer any in-air accuracy penalties, that's fine, you can definitely do that. But if you're trying to get up somewhere and you're trying to like avoid getting shot, moving up normally with the cube, you go very slow. But there is a way to avoid this. So if we throw down the anti-gravity cube, but this time we jump into it. You want to be very close to the cube when you do this. As you'll see, if I walk up to it and jump, it preserves my momentum, and as you can see, I move much faster. The closer you are, as you can see, the faster you move. So if for whatever reason you want to move like in the middle, if you go right here, you see I move a little bit faster, and if I'm right next to it and I jump, as you can see, oh, I fucked that up. If you're right next to it and you jump, you move very fast. So if you want to ascend those areas faster, get next to that cube and jump, and thus, once again, your goal is to just rain down hell with the MGL. That rhymed. Next up at number 2, we have the floor denial. So a lot of people don't know this, but the anti-gravity cube actually works through floors. So for example, right, as we will show off here, if I go to the second floor, you see I've put a little cash box as like our kind of cash out, right? Let's say somebody is trying to steal this cash out here and you want to cancel it, or maybe just scare them, because this is also a pretty effective tactic. All you're gonna do, right, if you know the person is here, say you're using something like a proximity sensor, which I will also show up a cool tech with the cube and the sensor, but you know the person's up here, right? All you have to do is just take that cube, because you know where they're at, you definitely know where the cash out's at, and chuck it down. And as you'll see here, it actually works through the floor, and as you can see, it pushes up that cash box. So this is a very good way of denying the area for an enemy. Also, if you want to do this to block off windows, so let's say the enemy is trying to engage from this window, if I throw my anti-gravity cube in front of this window, as you can see here, this one here is directly above it, I can block off both of these windows, which is very useful, or at a minimum, slow the enemy down from coming in. So definitely keep this in mind. If you didn't know, the cube goes through the floor. So that's pretty neat. Next up at number 3, we have the floating shield synergy. Now this one is very useful if you absolutely need to deny damage. Also, as I showed off in tip number 1, if you're using something like the MGL or whatever weapon that doesn't get penalties from in-air accuracy, this can be very useful. So as I showed off in tip number 1, right, sometimes your goal is to ascend as fast as possible. Other times maybe you want to lock down an area. But, depending on the situation, regardless of how fast you're moving, people are going to shoot you. If you want to avoid that, a really cool tip you can do is if you take down the anti-gravity cube, throw it, then throw the dome shield on top of it. It's really important. You have to land the shield very close to the cube. It will actually float up the dome shield. So if I take this right here, and then I aim my dome shield, make sure I land on top of that cube. As you'll see here, it actually floats up my dome shield. This is a very good way, as I said, to protect yourself. Maybe you can shoot out of it, but at a minimum, as you're going up in that vulnerable state, that is going to prevent damage. So definitely give this a try. I will admit it's kind of niche, but at the end of the day, it's good to know all your options. Next up at number 4, we have the scouting barrel. This is one of my favorite techs as well. I know I've said that a lot, but I love all the tech with the anti-gravity cube. I mean, look at things like the goose ship, right? This thing is just meant to meme. But anyways, besides the point, this is going to combine the anti-gravity cube and the proximity sensor, allowing you to scout out targets and essentially get a sonar grenade on steroids. So this is pretty simple, right? What we're trying to do here is get line of sight for that proximity sensor so we don't have to go in and get our hands dirty. The radius on the sensor is pretty good, but if we can make that better, by all means. So all we're gonna do is throw down our anti-gravity cube, take a proximity sensor, and as you can see right here, if I just throw this and float it up, I now have a proximity sensor that can fly a longer distance. Also, if you want, as you can see, we have a barrel just floating right here. Perhaps we want to use a proximity sensor to just kind of sit in an aerial position to scout people. We can do that as well. So once again, I'll run over here. Let's say we want to scout somebody, you know, up here, somewhere like that. So I'm going to take this barrel, take my proximity sensor, and just toss that on that, as you can see right there. And if there's somebody in this area, maybe we're trying to block off a zip line, or, you know, we want some kind of cue when the enemy's coming, we can do that. Another option you have with this is a bit more niche, I can't lie to you, but it's really funny when it works. Let's say we have our anti-gravity cube and we want to do something a little bit more explosive. If we know an enemy is trying to come through a doorway, or maybe want to block off an area, like you can't throw mines and suspend them in the air, right? So what we can do though is take 2 pyro mines, toss them on that, put down our cube, and as you can see right here, just drop them. And now, when an enemy tries to go through a doorway, or maybe, you know, we put that there and somebody destroys our cube, as you can see, we can destroy that and like drop 2 mines on them. I know this seems kind of niche, but as you'll see right here, when this target runs into that, this can do a ton of damage. And at a minimum, right, it's funny and it catches people off guard. And finally, at number 5, we have a bit of a 2-in-1. So really, this is like 7 quick tips, and I don't normally beg for likes, but come on, that's worth a like. Also, this is for you because you stayed this long in the video, so I appreciate you very much. Besides the point, we have the first one, which is the cube slide. I believe I'm the first person to figure this out, but this allows you to bypass one of the weaknesses of the spear. So with the spear, right, use the heavy attack, and the weakness here is you're moving real slow. You can jump around, but you're not moving very fast. However, if we couple the anti-gravity cube, as you know, it preserves your momentum, we can increase the speed of that heavy attack by like triple. So all I'm gonna do, throw down the anti-gravity cube. Before I hit it, when I have that spear out, I'm going to slide into the cube, then activate my heavy attack. And as you'll see right here, I'm gonna slide in. Look how much faster I move with that heavy attack. This is so good for closing the gap, especially at a minimum, you are going to catch people off guard. So once again, right here, as you can see, I am moving so fast. Do this into a doorway, right? Maybe there's a group of 3 and they're like, oh, here comes the spear guy, and you come in like a speeding bullet. Once again, nobody is gonna see that coming. So as you can see right there, the difference, as soon as that wears out, I'm moving slow, so definitely give that a try. The other technique we have is the nuke. So I apologize, my people who played in season 1, this is probably gonna give you PTSD, but all you're gonna do is take your C4, pyro mines, maybe you have a medium on your team, maybe they wanna stick a turret, you know, explosive mines, whatever they want on it. The important thing here, if you're going to do this, you're gonna put down the anti-gravity cube. When you throw the barrel, you want to be as close to the cube as possible. This is going to preserve the most initial momentum, allowing you to throw it further. Additionally, as you can see here, the mines are blinking. When I pick it up, they stop. Then after a minute, they start blinking again. As you can see right here, I'll drop that. You'll see that they start blinking right here. That's how you know you can detonate the C4. So in order to do this effectively, you have to make sure you have given yourself enough distance from the target, so when you detonate that C4, you're actually going to do it on top of that target. I know that sounds like a lot and it's a little wordy, trying to condense it as much as I can, but I'll just show you what it looks like. So once again, we throw everything on it. We're going to take down our anti-gravity cube. We're gonna be going for that medium here. We're gonna pick it up, chuck it as close as we can. You see that goes pretty far. Those start blinking, I blow it up, and it one-shots that target. I won't lie to you, this does take some setup. That's why I kind of left it as a bonus. But as you can see right here, if you pull this off, you can actually one-shot a heavy target. So maybe throwing this into a cash out or a crowded room, you might walk out with a few kills. Anyways, everyone, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below. The anti-gravity cube is just so funny. I'm sure there's a million things I could do with it. So also, if I missed anything like a tech that you like to use, or you're like, Combo, you're an idiot, this is super important and you didn't mention it, please let me know. I'm all about learning new things, and we can only better ourselves through humility. Anyways, guys, not to get preachy, thank you so much for watching. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you for the support on the gameplay videos recently. You guys are the best, as well as my channel members. As you can see here, you guys are literally the best and the reason I keep going. Of course, all of you are part of that too, but channel members especially, you are just the best. Like, I don't know why you'd pay money to watch these videos because they're garbage. Anyways, guys, this has been Combo. Stay home, stay safe, and yeah, peace out. Later.